Welcome back to another episode of Treknicity, the show where we talk about our favorite subject, of course, being Star Trek. And this is take 2 because I screwed up during the setup of this episode. So yay me! I'm Lars,
and I'm Brandon.
And with us we have a special guest host who is Sir not appearing in this episode, but really appearing in this episode. In this episode, we're going to talk about Strange New Worlds, Season 1, Episode 7, The Serene Squall, which, of course, is another knock it out of the park episode. I'm starting to get worried. I'm starting to get worried because it's actually starting to be really, really cool. Like, it's continuing. Like, it's almost like people are just starting to say, well, if I had to say something bad about it, this episode is probably the worst of the season, and it's still pretty good. So, but anyways, yeah. So we're gonna do a recap of this episode. Before we start, I just want to remind everybody that this episode is spoilerific. So if you haven't watched the episode, go watch it. Come back, or not. I mean, we're not the spoiler police, but you have been warned.
Wait, has anyone actually said this episode's the worst of the season?
I've heard people talk about no, not this episode, but they're like, if I have to pick something bad about it, X episode is like the worst of the good. It's like they're all like really good, but hey, this one is. If I had to pick one I didn't like as much as the others, I don't like this one as much as the others, but they're all still pretty awesome.
The writing's just on point. It's just so great. Everything is just perfect this season.
I bet you, I know that when Anson Mount was told that, hey man, we're gonna do a spin-off series with you and the crew of the Enterprise, and I knew, I bet you right away he's gonna be like, oh yeah, man, I'm all over this. Like, I am gonna make this. I'm getting the Louisville Slugger out of the park, and they've done it. We'll talk more about it here, but I just wanted to kind of remind everybody that we are going to spoiler this. We're just going to have an open kind of stream of consciousness, and we'll hit some points, things we liked, things we loved, and I don't know if there's any things we don't like about it, but hey, it is what it is. And I'm rambling because it's Monday. It's 8:30, 8:45 now, and I'm tired. It's a hair past a freckle. So yes, Season 1, Episode 7, The Serene Squall. We're going to talk about that here in detail in just a moment. However, as we have wanted to do, we like to show the love to our fellow podcasters, and as such, we're just going to do a few shout-outs. So just bear with me while I pay a little bit of karma and pay it forward to our friends. Do you like reading comic books? Are you a comic book artist or writer? Do you love discussing comic book movies and TV shows? Then the Irreverent Nerd podcast might be for you. Join co-hosts Richard and Will every Wednesday as they discuss these topics and more. You can also follow them on Instagram at irreverent_nerd. That's at IRREVERENT_nerd. See you around the nerdverse, fellow humans. I like that they think that we're actually humans like they are. It's kind of funny. I mean, come on. Seriously, folks. Seriously. Anyways. Onwards and upwards.
Human like me.
A human like... I don't want to be a human like you. I want to be a human like me. Wait a minute, I'm not really human. Set phases to holy cow. It's my favorite podcast, Starship Tempest. Starship Tempest is a real play podcast set in the time between Kirk and Picard, where a group of friends stumble their way through their first role-playing campaign, going clumsily, if not boldly, where no one has gone before. All right, I totally lifted it from their opening titles, but how can you not with that line? Anyways, if you love Star Trek, you love podcasts, and you love laughing your aft deck off, then check out Starship Tempest at starshiptempest.com or wherever you stream your wherever you stream your podcast. Yeah. See, this is what it's like. You know, I could stop and I could we could just do it again. I'm like, no editing. Oh, no post production. Yeah. Anyways, that's fun. And of course, certainly last but certainly not least, our friends at the In Star Trek We Trust podcast. You can join Kim and Ethan as they do their live shows on Twitch. You can catch them on Twitter at Star Trek We Trust, on Instagram at In Star Trek We Trust podcast, and of course, like I said, their episodes appear on Twitch at twitch.tv/In Star Trek We Trust. And now we're back to it. And we're into it. All right, so let's talk about this episode. Let's give it a brief synopsis of what's going on, how everything kind of starts out. The Enterprise is playing host to a doctor. We see her. We have a little bit of dealings with T'Pring, where she enjoys giving a little bit of sexy time talk to our favorite Vulcan Spock. And that was actually a really nice touch. I thought that it was kind of like they didn't...
That was hilarious.
Yeah, like it's so awkward that it's funny.
He's like, she mentions, she's like, human sex, and he's just like...
What?
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. It's so funny because it's so, I guess, I don't want to say tongue-in-cheek, but it's so matter-of-fact. It's like,
yeah,
we know what we're talking about. We're going to keep talking about it, and we don't care what anybody thinks about it. But the cool thing about it is this whole...
They're so Vulcan,
right.
So it's just all logical. It's not even about emotions. Or
like you're not... Like, they're totally just going hell-bent for leather, and it's so funny. Because they're kind of stumbling through their way through things, and it's like you almost want to have a Vulcan as a romantic partner, because they're so matter of fact, like there's no emotion in it, so you know that they're not, what they're saying is not being swayed by their emotions. And so when they do go through, they're talking about the texts and everything about, these Earth texts that T'Pring has been reading about human sexuality, and you could see you can almost see the lump in his throat. Like, let's talk about this in person.
Yeah.
like Vulcan sexting has to be like the most, I don't know, most off-putting thing you could do, Stop. And I'm being told off by the 8-year-old because I said the S word.
Dad, I wasn't mad at you. I'm mad at the tablet. The controls are just bugging me out.
I see.
I would be upset too.
Yes, definitely. Would you like me to have a word with it for you?
Yes.
Yesterday when I did Old Men Gaming with Patrick, my son sat in on with me and just watched. He kind of played the game and sat in with me just because he wanted to be near Dad. And Patrick's like, "Are you gonna he's gonna be here for the episode?" Yeah, absolutely. Why? Because this is the time I get to spend with my child, and I have no qualms about of actually him being on camera with me. We're not doing anything, unbecoming. Like, he's not being exposed to the wide world of bad things. He's just sitting there playing his game, enjoying some time with his old man, and that's what it's all about.
Server.
Exactly. I don't know about your server. I'll give you a server.
No one's on the server, so why is it saying unknown fell from high place?
I don't know. So, back into the rat killing. I love the awkwardness of this whole dynamic between the two, because the thing is that what's going to happen. Eventually she's going to dump him for Stan, and it's almost bittersweet because you're like, oh man, when is this going to happen? Well, it's going to happen during the events of the original series episode Amok Time, when Spock goes home for Ponfar and to get married to Pring, and she's like, screw you. She puts up her hand, says, no, I want the Calafi, and I'm at it, and bam. And then we know that basically they are Dunskies after that. But right now, watching them is hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
So the idea is that T'Pring is she's serving on a rehabilitation base where these Vulcans work with severe or serious offenders and kind of, again, try to rehabilitate them.
They don't have jail. They don't have prisons, right? Like, this is their prison.
Yeah.
It's like a rehabilitation center, right?
Right, and I think it's something we mentioned before in previous episodes where Earth has or the Federation has 2 prisons left. One is the one where a mental hospital where Garth of Izar is being treated come the time of the original series, and then the other one only one we ever see in the Federation ever. After that is the opening of Star Trek Voyager, where she goes to recruit Tom Paris, and he's currently in prison in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Which again, it's not even really a prison; it's another rehabilitation place. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool to see them explore this side of things. And I like this, and actually, I love the fact that they're really giving some serious depth to the character of T'Pring. I mean, we saw her in one episode 50 plus years ago, and that's it. It's the same with Pike. I mean, we've talked about how cool it is to have Pike as a recurring character and all that jazz. But that being said, again, I love that they are spending a lot of time working to develop these characters a little bit more so that we can come to appreciate them more.
Yeah, it's great. And the new character, right after that scene, we get to see the new character that's becoming really popular, Pike's Peak.
Oh, his hair.
Yeah. Pike's Pompadour.
Yeah, that's for sure. Although I don't think it was as pronounced this episode as it was last episode.
Oh yeah, last episode it was like 10 feet tall.
Yeah, like shields up, his hair goes up, and but I think what's really cool about this whole series, I mean, I know I say that a lot, is the fact that they don't take anything seriously until they need to. There's a whole scene at the end of the episode where Pike talks like a pirate.
Like a pirate.
I actually thought it was a joke until I watched it, because I was as you know, I was traveling a few days ago to go and get ham. Well, part of the process was I had to add a very long layover in Denver, and I thought, you know what, I'll sit, and like Patrick's like, you gotta watch it. He's like, I'm thinking, who are you? You've never gotten excited about Star Trek in your entire life. Who are you? He's like, it's actually really great. I'm like, all right, cool. So I watched it in the airport, and then this afternoon I watched it again just to kind of keep things fresh. Again, we get another knock it out of the park episode, because it's so taps into that spirit of Star Trek, of what it always has been. Yeah. I know it was often referred to as, wagon train into space, sort of thing. It was a sci-fi western, if you like. And I don't think that really does it justice. I think that what these guys have done with this new series has really pushed it beyond what we could have expected from a Star Trek series.
It's exciting. Like, I actually look forward to each episode. I look forward to being like, oh, what's the next thing they're gonna do? Or what's the next race we're gonna see? What's the next like adventure they're gonna get into, or what's the next like trap they're gonna get in? And it's exciting.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, I'm loving that. I'm loving the whole thing with the Ready Room, the series, the after series that Will Wheaton has been hosting for quite some time now.
I haven't listened to that yet.
He's been hosting that, I want to say, since Discovery came out, and just the fun, the fun that gets injected into all this stuff. It's got to be hilarious on set.
Sure.
There are scenes in these episodes where you're thinking, "Oh my goodness!" I'm sure they had to have some kind of joke. Like, I mean, they had to have something going on. So, kind of back to talking about the story. We have a scientist who is visiting the Enterprise. They're talking about basically these colonists are disappearing. Ships are disappearing. They're getting raided by pirates. And I'm not going to lie, when we saw the preview for this episode, I got really excited because I thought, oh, that looks like the Tholians. Oh, look, I think we're going to... And in the end, it wasn't, but it was still pretty freaking cool. The Enterprise is kind of doing their thing. They're checking it out. They realize that if they go and investigate this, that they're going to go out of Federation territory, and in order to do so, they have to have permission. Pike, being who he is, like, you know what? Drop him a message. We're going to go. And so
drop a deuce in space.
Yeah.
And head out.
Yep. They leave a pinger and off they go. They go into this area. They go into an asteroid field. They set off. They hit one of the asteroids, and it sets off this sort of web of lasers. As Ortega's says, it's like a web except made of lasers.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Which another thing, she's another awesome character. She's an amazingly cool character.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to her story. Like once they focus an episode on her.
Yeah.
If they do.
Well, I mean, we've got what?
Which they should. They do it on everyone. So.
Yeah, I think we got 3 episodes left of this season, this first season. And of course, it's going to happen, and when we get to the end, we're going to be like, "Oh man, we have to wait another whole year for this." What it was like? You remember what it was like when we were younger? We'd watch a series, and it'd be like 22, 23, 24 episodes, and then we'd have to wait 6 months for another season to start, and we'd be like, 6 months? What are you talking about, man? And now it's like, now we're going to do it'll be back next year. We don't know when next year, and if anything happens in the slightest way, it's going to get delayed again. I'm looking at you, Handmaid's Tale. Holy cow.
Freaking Rick and Morty, almost 2 years between each season.
My goodness. Yeah. And that's the funny thing is I suppose it is harder to do animation because you have to do everything kind of by hand or whatever, but still.
Nah.
Yeah, I get it.
It's just their stories they're really good. They spend a lot of time on coming up with good shit.
I'm going to say this, I'm probably going to get flamed for it. I have never watched a full episode of Rick and Morty ever.
You're missing out. It is literally some of the best science fiction ever written.
And I've seen the bits and pieces I've seen, I've loved. So I know I've got to go back and I've got to watch through it at some point. But
think of it as a Doctor Who comedy. It's super funny.
Well, yeah, I mean,
hardcore sci-fi.
Yeah, I mean, it was the whole thing. Originally it was designed to be a Back to the Future style cartoon. I mean, you can obviously tell the parallels between Rick and Doc Brown and Morty as Marty. I mean, come on. But anyways, I digress. So they go off. They get caught in this trap. They figure out that they can kind of blow one of the asteroids up. Spock has to make a guess. Didn't see that coming. And they get out. So they're like, oh, yay. Well, hang on a second. They're still out here. We got to go find them. And this doctor's kind of like, yeah, you need to go find them. Go find them. Yeah, go out there. Go on. We see that they're being followed by another little ship. And you're like, oh, yeah, okay. So what's going to happen here? Continuing on the synopsis, they come across this ship. They realize that it's not what they think it is. They get boarded. They go across. They get Pike and crew get captured. The ship gets taken over by space pirates, which we see they are Green Orions mostly, or actually the leader guy is. But he, it's kind of funny. He's like,
and then hilarity ensues.
Yeah, I mean, like
captive.
Pike gets out of his dangerous situation by cooking. And we see some serious action on the Enterprise. We see, although it was kind of funny. Go ahead.
Yeah, we gotta see Spock kick some butt.
Yeah, man, he was given the old Vulcan neck pinch, and he went and tossed one dude across the entire bridge.
Threw a dude across. Yeah.
Yeah, and he did it with absolute ease. Just whoop, off he went. He nerve pinched him and yeeted him. And then we got to see was it Ortega's? We get to see Una, and was it Ortega's on the bridge laying down some impressive fire. Although you could tell I was like, one thing I kept noticing when I'm like, they're like these people, I don't know how they're hitting anybody, because they're like the worst shot. They're like the stormtroopers of Star Trek, because they're not they're not aiming, they're not like pew pew pew, they're just like whack 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 whack. It's just like wild shooting. I'm like, how are you hitting anybody?
Because the show has to happen.
I guess so. Yeah, they're just like, oh, just whatever, just pretend you're shooting, and they're like, yeah, whatever, like these little at things, and then they end up shooting people, and then like whatever. Of course, Nurse Chapel, like la 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 la. Oh, wait a minute, the ship's been boarded, and I better do something about it. And so they're like, I caught her, and hands up, put your weapons down. She's like, don't hurt me, I'm a nurse. I'm like, are you kidding me, man? You're probably the most well armed. Oh, before I forget, one thing that really I noticed this episode, we still haven't seen Hemmer. Like, is the dude on vacation?
Yeah, we haven't seen him in a while.
Like, where did he go? Like, oh, he's in engineering. Why? And if that's the case, why wasn't he there later on in the episode when Spock and the Doctor meet up with Nurse Chapel in engineering? You tell me.
Well, he was in the brig with everyone else.
I guess, man. Either that, or he just, went for a walk or something. We
haven't. I don't even remember the last episode we've seen him in. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah. I want to say. Oh my goodness. Was it the? It wasn't the episode with the cooler. It was the one where with
what does Bane of Arthur's do in Minecraft?
Was it where he busts his hand or something? No, there was one after that. I think.
That was it, wasn't it? The one with the Uhura, like episode 3.
Yeah, it's like it's been forever since we've seen him. It's like, holy cow, dude, where'd you go? It's gonna be like I told you. It's gonna be like summer school. He's gonna be like at the end of the season. He's just gonna rock up. It's like, where have you been? No, I've been in the bathroom for the last 7 episodes. And by the way, I'm still smarter than all you. Jeez,
maybe he's hibernating right now.
Yeah, maybe the ER. Maybe he went back to Andoria, for a vacation. Wasn't cold enough on the on Enterprise for him.
Yeah.
But we get to see some really cool stuff. We get to see
some butt.
Exactly. We get to see Nurse Chapel kick some butt. we get to see Una and Ortegas, despite their apparent lack of ability to aim like any normal sane person, still managed to kick some butt. Spock goes all Bruce Lee on dude and yeets him across the bridge, and then of course like the people who you expect to be like the big tough ones, like the away team, like Laan and Captain Pike and all these people that went over to the ship and had to deal with the ugly pirates. You're thinking, oh man, they're gonna kick butt. They're really gonna kick butt, and in the end, it's like, dude ends up starting a mutiny by cooking for them.
Yeah.
Like Pike became Neelix for an episode.
I love that. Then they're like, the mutiny's still in the beginning stages. Can you beam us out of here?
Yeah, can we get out of here? Yeah, because we think we may have misjudged the timing on this. But one thing we find out is Dr. Asper turns out she is actually, her name is Captain Angel, and she is the captain of the Serene Squall, which is the pirate ship that's been raiding ships all of the sector. When she does the whole evil for evil, like she almost goes on full Mr. Burns evil mode.
Yeah, it was a little. It took me out. That if I had any bad thing to say about it, it was that. It was like it almost took me out of the show. It was like, this is a little too much acting right here.
Right, and it turns out the whole thing was a ploy to get the Enterprise to talk to, mostly Spock to talk to Pring to be able to, I guess, release Angel's husband, who is at the Vulcan correctional facility, and that was the whole. It was everything was innate. It was all designed just to get him released. She tries this whole thing where she's like, well, I'm going to kill your boyfriend if you don't give me what I want. So Spock has this brilliant moment with Nurse Chapel on the bridge, and he's like, just play along. And he does this whole thing where he breaks up with T'Pring and admits that he had an affair with Nurse Chapel. And they kiss on air, and everything goes sideways. And yeah, and it was like, oh damn it! Now he can't do crap because he's incorruptible. Because he's already been corrupted. So in the end, they basically say, "Sorry, I'm not going to help you," and
peace out.
Yeah, like sorry. So they managed to yeet Angel off the ship. She goes off, like she hits her little necklace thingy. It was a transponder. She beams over to the little creepy crawly ship we saw earlier in the episode, and she yeets out. Pike comes back. Everything's kind of back to normal, except Pike does this whole thing with speaking like a pirate, and of course Una goes,
"Yar, make Captain Angel walk the plank."
Yeah, and Una's like, "Please stop." It's like,
I'll be right back.
All right, you'll be right back. I'm glad our special co-host has let us know that he will return briefly. Of course, like any year old. Oh, look, he did it. He actually closed the door. Oh my goodness, holy cow! This kid surprises me more and more every day. So yeah, I mean, like this whole thing, I love that. See, here's the thing: is that's one thing that was really cool about the original series, is that they faced something really intense and really serious and really difficult, and at the end, after they're done with everything and they've solved the issue, there's a scene on the bridge with you got McCoy and you got Spock and you got Kirk, and the whole thing is like, they completely take the Mickey out of the situation. And it's all jovial, and there's like that playful music going on, and pardon me, my goodness. And they do this whole thing where like everything's fun again, and you're like, you play it off as it's not so serious, so you can go on to your next mission, and yay. That's exactly what they did here. But they dropped a nice little piece of spoilerage right there at the end.
Air.
Oh my god, I did not see that coming
Yeah,
at all. That
comes
was huge.
come to see that Cybok
The Vulcan husband of Captain Angel
is
was
Cybok. And like, oh my goodness. Nobody saw that coming. Nobody. And
I was literally like,
yeah. My first thought was, I wonder what Larry Luckenbill had to say. You know, although he's to be fair, I mean, he's getting up there in years, so who knows if he's even watching the series. But the whole thing is that it was very cool to bring, like they're just taking all this stuff that we loved through all these movies and TV shows, and they're dropping them in. They're just like, they must have like this like giant board in like the writer's room, and they're just like, it has all the cool stuff that we've ever seen in Star Trek, and they're just like, all right, what cool thing are we going to drop in this episode? I don't know, hang on.
yeah.
Oh, so I guess we're bringing Cybok back. What? You know? And I'm like, oh my God, that's so dude.
That's such an amazing idea. I cannot wait to see what they do with him.
Yeah, I hope they do something this season. If not, you know, I'm okay waiting until next season before we see anything. But again, like they're just dropping bombs everywhere in these episodes, and you're just like, yes, I want more. Give me more.
It's so exciting.
But I would say, would you agree that is that's the whole idea? That was the whole thing with them, is they really had to have their ducks in a row. They had to have everything right. They had to make sure they did things right, because people were so divided over Picard and Discovery. Yeah. And they're just like, how do we get this back? How do we? Tired of it. Yeah, like how do we pull this back? How do we get? You know, how do we get where we're going? Like, how do we get people to come back and love Star Trek again? I have an idea. Yeah. Take everything that was cool about Star Trek and bring it back.
Yeah.
Huh. Really? I hadn't thought of that. Yeah. Bring back everything that was cool.
Give that man a raise.
Yeah. Exactly. Or it's that meme. So, yes, my child.
I was actually playing Spotify, and then I saw it was also playing there too.
Oh, yeah. Well, don't play Spotify, because you'll play music right through our episode, kiddo. So, let's not do this right now. All right? Anyways. Oh my goodness!
Another amazing episode.
Yeah, another amazing episode. Cannot wait to see the next week's episode, where they have M'Benga as a king, and the Enterprise is like the king's chair, you know, like is his chariot. It's so cool. Have you seen the preview for next week's episode?
No, I need to check it out.
Oh my goodness! M'Benga has a moment, and next thing you know, he realizes he's like everybody's wearing, you know, sort of medieval outfits, and the ship is decked out in like, it looks like medieval times in space, and they're bowing and scraping to him, calling him the king. I'm like, oh my goodness, here we go. This is the fun stuff that we continue to want to see. These oddball out in left field ideas that they keep throwing at us.
Is it like the TNG Robin Hood TNG episode?
Yeah, but all we've seen so far is the parts where it takes place on the ship. So the ship's all decked out with like banners and all this royalty stuff. It is so neat. So neat.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
So, you know, let me have what are your final thoughts on the episode as a whole? Any particular highlights? Any low points at all?
Yeah, the highlight was Cybok and seeing Spock like just go to town on people with the Vulcan neck pinch. That was amazing. Just
yeah, he's like. Got you, I got you, come here, got you too. What about low points? Any real low points?
Just her overacting Captain Angel when she decided to go bad.
Yeah.
Like, it was a little too much overacting.
Yeah, it's like Gru. Here's
It was
the other
like
thing.
Amber Heard on the. It was like Amber Heard on the stand all of a sudden.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Too soon. Too soon.
Oh, I've got you now. But here, that being said, yeah, I would say for me, highlight of the episode, same as you, seeing Spock kick some butt, and then also seeing the reveal of Cybok. It would have been cool if they'd showed his face, but all right, I'll let you have that one. We'll see.
We gotta see part of his beard.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder when he gets yeeted to Nimbus 3. But yeah, I would definitely say I agree with you. Most part, there weren't any real rough patches other than Angel being kind of Angel. That being said, I'd like to thank everybody who watches this episode, supports our show, supports our Red Shirt Geeks channel. It is this whole season so far has been a lot of fun, especially having a new co-host who is a big Star Trek nerd like myself. And yeah, we're looking forward to continuing doing new episodes. I believe what we're going to do is we're gonna finish out Strange New Worlds season 1. Then we're going to take a bit of a hiatus to regroup and get ready for whatever is going to be out there, whether Lower Decks is back or if they're going to get ready to start spinning up the next batch of episodes for Prodigy. And I think you're about to be eaten by a microphone. So again, thank you everybody who watches this show, who comments, who's following us. We just hit over 300 followers on Instagram, and I know that I don't care whether it's that much at all. To me, it's amazing that people take the time and actually follow us on social media so that we can share our thoughts and such.
It's awesome.
Yeah, so thank you again very much. That's all for this episode of Treknicity. I'm Lars.
And I'm Brandon.
And always remember to rock out, but you Spock out. We will see you next time. Have fun, folks.